Hi, my name is Marcus Miller, and I'm a coordinator in the Professional Learning Department. This video will serve as a quick introduction to district expectations for Google Classroom. Links to the district expectations and the elementary and secondary teacher handbooks are included below this video. The goal for this video is to explain the expectations and briefly describe why they are important. We will also add an example of what a good Google Classroom might look like if these expectations are being followed. These expectations have been slightly differentiated for elementary and secondary, but this video will describe both. Bear in mind, these are district-level expectations that apply to all teachers at all grade levels. Therefore, they are obviously pretty broad. This means that you might get some more specific instructions that just apply to your campus or grade or subject. Before we dive into the expectations themselves, I want to explain why it is important that we set some common expectations. First, having some commonality allows for a somewhat consistent and equitable experience district-wide. The experience of our students should be pretty similar because we have a common curriculum and we share the same state standards. Second, these will help us create a consistent Google Classroom experience for both parents and students. If I'm a secondary student, it makes it much easier for me if all 8 of my classes are set up in basically the same way. I don't have to memorize 8 completely different organization schemes. If I'm a parent with multiple students, it helps me if all my kids have their Google Classrooms set up in the same way. We designed the expectations with a team of tech-savvy teacher leaders and vetted them through academic services to make sure that these will meet the needs of our students, families, and teachers. Let's start with naming conventions. It is easier for students to find the right class at the right time if we all follow the same naming conventions. In elementary, this is pretty easy. Just name your class with your name. I would name my class Mr. Miller's class, or if I teach PE or art, I can just call it Mr. Miller's 4th grade art, or Mr. Miller's 2nd grade PE. That way I can pull all my 4th grade PE students in a class together. If I'm feeling ambitious, I can create a separate Google Classroom for each individual student group, then I'd end up with like 35 different classes, and that seems like a lot to manage. So creating one for each grade level is easier. For secondary teachers, we want to be a bit more specific, so we'll use class period, subject, name. So I might name a class 2nd period Texas History, Mr. Miller, or 3rd period Chemistry, Mr. Miller. This will really help your students because then my classes will sort automatically by my class periods. You can pick your class name when you create a new class in Google Classroom by selecting the plus sign. Or if you already have a classroom built and you need to change the name, you can change class name at any time by selecting the gear icon for settings, then change the name and click Save. Speaking of classes, each teacher needs their own Google Classroom. In the past, sometimes grade level teams would create one classroom and share it, but for remote learning we need each teacher to have their own Google Classroom. And at the secondary level, you'll need one Google Classroom for each class period. This is important for daily attendance as well as communication and grading. It is easy to copy assignments from one classroom to another, so you can still collaborate as a collaborative team, and you don't have to type everything out 8 different times for each class period. Google Classroom's Classwork tab can be organized into folders called topics. We're asking every teacher to create a topic called Class Information. That folder should include your schedule, contact information, meeting information, hyperlinks, and information about classroom expectations like digital citizenship. The kind of information you would normally share during the first few days of school should probably all go in the Class Information topic. This makes it easier for students and their families to find that info when they need it. We're also asking all teachers to organize their classwork tab by week. You can do this by creating a topic called Week 1, Week 2, Week 3, and so on and so forth. This is much easier for students to navigate because they don't have to remember which unit or chapter of the textbook they are in for each class. It also makes it easier for parents. I might have 4 kids at 4 different campuses, but all 4 kids are all doing Week 3 at the same time, so I just have to find that topic if I'm looking for assignments and resources. You can add topics if you want, like Week 2, fractions, or states of matter, or you can add the calendar dates like Week 2, August 17 to 21. Academic Services has created a Week at a Glance template for all teachers. We have a different version for pre-K teachers, K-5 teachers, and secondary teachers. All 3 templates can be found in the teacher manuals linked below. Please complete this document and post it in that week's topic on or before Monday of each week. This allows students and parents to get a feel for the week's assignments and activities and plan accordingly. When it comes to your specific assignments and activities, make sure to include very detailed instructions. Don't just upload a document or link to a video. Include some explanation of what you want them to do with that resource and how it connects to your learning targets. When we're in a traditional classroom setting, this isn't as important because we are right there if someone has a question, and you can quickly tell if a student is off track or confused. For remote learning, we aren't there to guide them, so our instructions need to be very explicit. Each Google Classroom has a tab named Stream. This tab should be reserved for important announcements. In each Google Classroom, click the gear in the top right corner to access the settings. Then, next to the Classwork on the Stream setting, select Hide Notifications. Otherwise, every assignment, discussion, link, quiz, and resource will all show up in that stream, totally out of your intended order, and make the whole thing super cluttered. By hiding the classwork from the stream, it allows your announcements to stand out and ensures that students access their daily work in the topic for that week. Every Google Classroom needs a co-teacher. This is in case you end up being out sick. This co-teacher can add your subplans or even add another co-teacher in case of an extended absence. This co-teacher can be a campus leader, team leader, or just any teacher friend from down the hall. It doesn't really matter to the district, but your campus administrator might have a preference. Please add whoever your principals want added. You can add a co-teacher by selecting the People tab in your classroom, clicking the blue button to add a teacher, type their email, and click Invite. Don't worry about getting a bunch of notifications for classes that aren't really yours. You can turn on and off notifications for specific classes by selecting the stack of pancakes in the top left corner and scrolling all the way down to Settings at the very bottom. Then look for the class notification settings and toggle off classes that you don't want notifications for. Speaking of substitutes, please have a subplan ready in case of an unexpected absence. This isn't really a new expectation. Teachers have been leaving subplans since the dawn of time, but it might look a little different for school at home. Hopefully you can just post the same lesson you were already planning, then take some medicine and go back to bed. This is one of the advantages of school at home. But if you are really unavailable or can't access a computer, make sure your co-teacher knows your lesson plan so they can post something on your behalf. This is why we want to make sure that every class has a co-teacher. Finally, our last expectation. Please turn on Guardian Summaries. Guardian Summaries are daily or weekly summaries, parents and guardians can choose, which provide information about their student, including assignments, grades, missing work, and upcoming due dates. These summaries are going to be an invaluable tool as we make school at home successful. It is important that we are not adding parents to the class as students. That would allow parents to see the work submitted of other students, and that could lead to some significant privacy concerns. You can invite your students' guardians in the People tab. After your students are enrolled in the classroom, then next to each student, select the Invite Guardian button and simply type in their email. You can even invite multiple guardians in case more than one parent or guardian wants these updates. That's it. Now that you know these expectations and the reasoning behind them, you are ready to go. If you've used Google Classroom in the past, you might have heard these expectations and thought, okay, that's easy, I know how to do that, I know where most of those buttons are. Then you're ready to roll. If this is your first time using Google Classroom, you might want to join one of our Google Classroom trainings. There's a link to one of our Google Classroom offerings below this video on YouTube. We will offer additional trainings throughout the school year, and we're looking forward to building some intermediate and advanced trainings for teachers who are ready to take the online learning game to the next level. Thanks for watching, and good luck in the coming school year.